Picks up Curry. Forces into a tough shot, which of course he makes. Unbelievable.
Trash talking the Golden State Warriors. That's not just bold, it's downright reckless. Over the past decade, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson have built a dynasty not just on buckets and banners, but on receipts. Because when you come at Golden State with words, they usually answer with something like a 30-foot three, a game-winning dagger, or a finals MVP. In this video, we're diving into moments where players ran their mouths and paid the price. From petty tweets and sideline jabs to full-blown disrespect, here are the trash talkers who tried the Warriors and lived to regret it. In 2019, the Golden State Warriors faced an uncertain future. With Kevin Durant leaving, Klay Thompson recovering from an ACL injury, and Steph Curry playing through a fractured hand, the Warriors' dominance was no longer guaranteed. Enter Patrick Beverley, the fiery guard of the Los Angeles Clippers, who decided to make a bold statement. After his team's playoff win over the Warriors, Beverley approached Curry and said, "You had the last 5 years. The next 5 are mine."
Haven't had much success. He's had a 64-point game of 54.
It was classic Beverley, confident, brash, and determined to stake his claim as the future of the league. But Steph's response was quick, calm, and deadly accurate. "Aren't you 31? In that moment, Curry effortlessly shut down Beverley's claim. While Beverley was in the prime of his career, Curry was showing the world that age wasn't going to slow him down. Since then, Beverley's career has been a far cry from the dynasty he predicted. While the Warriors fought through injuries and setbacks, they came back stronger.
Pat Bev trick y'all, man, like he play defense. He don't guard nobody, man, just running around.
In 2022, the Warriors clinched their 4th title in just 8 years, proving that their championship window was far from closed. Meanwhile, Beverley has bounced between teams and hasn't made a significant playoff run since that bold proclamation. His words didn't age well, and Curry's quiet response became a symbol of the Warriors' continued dominance. Beverley may have believed the next 5 years were his, but the Warriors proved that their window was far from over.
Brooks gets a running start ahead to Tillman. Good transition defense from Golden State. Bain steps back, three-pointer. That's good. On the opposite side. Do that dance, Gator. Having a good time.
In the 2022 NBA playoffs, the Golden State Warriors faced off against the Memphis Grizzlies. And right from the start, Ja Morant was brimming with confidence. After Memphis won Game 2 and tied the series, Morant couldn't resist taking a verbal shot at the Warriors. As he walked off the court, he turned to Steph Curry and said, "We're gonna have some fun." The words sounded confident, almost like a warning, but they also hinted at something else, a new era. Morant was determined to be the one to dethrone the Warriors, who had dominated the league for nearly a decade. But if you know anything about Golden State, you know they don't back down. Game 5 came around, and despite Morant's earlier words, it was Curry who would have the last laugh. Memphis, after all, wasn't ready for the Warriors when it mattered most. Golden State took Game 5 with ease, and in Game 6, the Warriors eliminated Memphis from the playoffs. Morant's trash talk was left hanging in the air as Curry hit clutch shots and led the Warriors to yet another win. In the end, it wasn't Ja Morant who was having fun, it was Steph and the Warriors. They reminded the young Grizzlies that even with all the confidence in the world, it takes more than words to take down a dynasty. Ja might have been confident, but by the time the Warriors walked off the court in Game 6, it was clear Curry was the one who was having fun.
There was this one player on the Grizzlies who tweeted strength in numbers after they beat us in the regular season, and it pissed me off so much. I can't wait to retweet that thing, freaking bum.
After a regular season win against the Warriors in 2022, Jaren Jackson Jr. took to Twitter and fired off a jab at Golden State's famous slogan, "Strength in numbers." It seemed innocent enough, a playful shot at the Warriors' catchphrase, which had been a rallying cry for their championship runs. But Jackson, a rising star in Memphis, had no idea what he was starting. The Warriors weren't just going to let this slide. After all, Golden State had a history of responding to trash talk with intensity, and they weren't about to let a young player mock their motto without consequences. Fast forward to the 2022 NBA Finals, and the Warriors made their statement loud and clear. After claiming their 4th title in 8 years, Klay Thompson addressed the tweet head-on during a championship celebration. He didn't just call out the Grizzlies for their regular season victory, he specifically aimed at Jackson's tweet. There was this one player on the Grizzlies who tweeted "strength in numbers" after they beat us in the regular season. and it pissed me off so much, I can't wait to retweet that thing. Freaking bum. The message was clear. Jackson might have had a good regular season, but in the end, the Warriors were the ones holding the trophy. It wasn't just about one game, but about building a legacy. One Jackson's Grizzlies had yet to prove they could touch. By the time the finals were over, the Warriors had reminded the league that not only were they still the team to beat, but they were the ones defining strength and numbers. And Jackson's tweet, it became a bitter reminder of how in the world of Golden State, you're not just playing for one game, you're playing for history.
We all had the vision and he didn't, which is perfect. You know, send him back to the Warriors and let him, we were able to, you know, create something like this and, you know, keep building this dynasty. And
Dillon Brooks made a name for himself as one of the most outspoken players in the NBA. And in 2022, he decided to make a bold claim, one that would come back to haunt him. After a regular season win over the Warriors, Brooks didn't hold back. In his post-game comments, he proclaimed, "We're building a dynasty over here." For a team that had never made it past the second round of the playoffs, calling yourself a dynasty seemed a bit premature. But Brooks was unshaken. He and his Grizzlies were hungry, young, and full of promise. And while their talent was undeniable, the Warriors had seen this kind of talk before, and they knew that to claim a dynasty, you had to prove it year after year. In the 2022 playoffs, Memphis faced Golden State in the second round. Brooks's confidence didn't waver, but his trash talk would come at a cost. His antics, particularly his reckless foul on Gary Payton II that led to a fractured elbow, started to catch up with him. Not only did the Grizzlies lose that game, but Brooks's reputation began to sour. Steph Curry and the Warriors, always quick to capitalize on mistakes, made sure to remind Brooks that a true dynasty doesn't just talk, it wins. And when the Grizzlies were eliminated from the playoffs, the Warriors once again advanced to the finals, securing their fourth championship in just 8 years. The ultimate twist, after Memphis's early exit, Draymond Green, who has never been shy about sharing his thoughts, called Brooks a clown on his podcast. It was the perfect insult, coming from one of the Warriors' vocal leaders, and it was clear that Golden State wasn't just going to let Brooks walk away from his bold statements unscathed. By the time the season was over, Brooks was no longer with the Grizzlies. In fact, he was waived. The dynasty talk? It had crumbled under the weight of reality.
Vacuums it in. Oh, and he threw it away.
And see, that's the problem sometimes because, you know, they're standing up.
Tari Eason didn't need words to trash talk the Warriors. His shirt did all the talking for him. During a Rockets versus Warriors game, Eason, sidelined with injury, showed up courtside wearing a t-shirt mocking Golden State. The design was clearly a jab, but the Warriors weren't going to let it slide. Eason might have thought he was making a statement, but it was Golden State who made the biggest statement that night on the scoreboard. The Warriors demolished Houston by 23 points, sending a clear message that trash talk isn't just about words, it's about actions. Trash talk is part of basketball. It fuels rivalries, makes headlines, and raises the stakes. But when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, you better be very careful with your words. Because Steph doesn't forget, Klay reads your tweets, Draymond will say something, and the whole squad, they'll remember exactly what you said, and they'll make sure you regret it. So the next time someone thinks about chirping Golden State, just ask around.